Hi friends, welcome to my YouTube channel Bamuj Biogenius. Today we will discuss about camera basics. Now why we should learn a camera. I have told you that in a nature interpretation an object is necessary so that we can show that object to the audience and thereby we can interpret the nature or thereby we can educate the audience about that particular thing, that particular nature. So let us see what is a camera basic. As I have told you that in a nature interpretation, the objects are very important. These objects may be a model, that may be a kind of a specimen, or that may be a photograph. Now, when we want to show a particular kind of a object, or for example, take a photograph, that photograph or that object should convey a kind of a message to the audiences related to the nature interpretation or related to the nature. So that's why the taking of a photograph is a kind of a skill, and for that purpose we have to learn this technique. And this technique, or we can say the good photo quality photograph, can be recorded or can be taken if we know certain things about the cameras. Now we will discuss about the cameras. See, there are two types of cameras. One is called as analog camera and another is called as a digital camera. Nowadays you will find only digital cameras. Analog cameras were outdated now. In case of analog camera, a film was there and that film is used for recording the images. Whereas in case of digital camera, a computer chip is used for recording the images. A digital camera records image electronically using a built-in processor, and it has a lens like a analog camera, but that lens refracts light onto a computer chips, and there the images are stored. Now, another important part of a digital camera is that it relies on electronic processing and storage. So this is about the digital camera. Now, how these images or photographs are stored in a film sensor? See, these are known as pixels or picture elements. So, the whatever the photograph that is taken, that is stored on in a camera, digital camera, with the help of the small tiny squares. Each square is called as a pixel. That pixel is a short form of a picture elements, and number of pixels captured by the image sensor, that is called as the resolution of that particular camera. You can see here, the if a pixels are more, or the capacity to capture the more pixels, that means that quality of that picture is better. So level of resolution is like this, that is 640 by 480 pixels. This is known as a low end, or most of the real cameras they capture the 640 to 480 pixels. But this resolution is not good. This resolution is only for sending emails to the um, person who requires the images for storage in a digital format only. But for printing purpose, the pixel should be 1216 into 912 pixels. That is the better size for printing the good quality picture. So this is known as a megapixel size or a megapixel image size. The total pixels in that megapixel is about the 11 lakh 9,000. So you can imagine that that much amount of pixels are required to um, have a good quality photograph. Then high resolution photographs can also be taken, and these are more than 1600 into 1200 pixels. So this this quality, or we can say that this quality of um, resolution that can be used to enlarge the images that we are having. So this is the almost 2 million total pixels. So you can find cameras today with more than 20 million pixels, or we can say the 20 um, megapixel. So this is how that the picture elements are there, and that picture elements decides the quality of that particular photograph. Then these photographs are stored in a compressed form, and this is known as a standard for compressing image data developed by the Joint Photographic Expert Group. Hence the name is given as JPEG or JPEG. So this is the compression method that is used for all types of cameras, and it is compressed. And when it is compressed, quality of that photograph is lost. So to high quality low compression JPEG setting is chosen on a digital camera, so that the loss of quality of a photograph can be minimized. Now we will discuss about the internal structure of digital single lens reflex cameras, that is called as a DSLR. So see here, when light comes from the object, that is to be photographed, that light comes from that object, it enters through the aperture inside the camera, and it is reflected on the, or the image is reflected via mirror to the prism, that is a pentaprism, and that is seen by the through the viewfinder. Now when we take a photograph, we the this mirror uh, is lifted upwards, and whatever the light that comes from the object is recorded on the sensor. So at the same time, this shutter is open. So through this, when the shutter opens, amount of light enters on the sensor, and that image is recorded. So this is how, again, the shutter is closed and the mirror comes to its original position. So this is how the photograph is taken. Now, for a good quality photograph, that sensor should have, or that sensor should get optimum quantity of light. Now this optimum quantity of light is dependent upon the shutter, or at the for a particular period this shutter is open, and through this shutter the light enters, or light is captured by this sensor. Now, if the shutter speed is more, a very small amount of light be will fall on the sensor. If shutter speed is very slow, the large amount of light will fall on the sensor. So speed determines the quantity of light that is to be allowed to fall on the sensor. Again, aperture is also there. This aperture also controls the amount of light that is to be allowed inside the camera. And the third is the most important thing, is that the ISO. or the sensitivity of that particular sensor, that is also responsible for the taking up a particular kind of a light. So all these three things, that is ISO, shutter speed and aperture, that takes up or that um, gives a kind of exposure to this sensor. Optimum exposure is necessary for a good quality photograph. Now you can see here, this is how that the sensor, that is ISO, shutter speed and aperture, they control the exposure of that particular sensor. For example, you can see here, if the ISO is fixed, you can see here, this is the position or that much amount of light is required for a correct exposure. Now, this is done by opening the aperture and the shutter speed or adjusting the shutter speed. Now, if the aperture is large, so large amount of light will enter inside the camera. So that shutter speed needs to be very high so that a very correct amount of light should enter inside the sensor. Similarly, here, if that aperture is a small, the shutter speed should be more so that the ample amount of light is allowed to the sensor, and so that it will get a correct exposure. So more time is required, and that's why this shutter speed will be slow. So this is how that a particular sensor is exposed to the light with the help of adjusting small aperture, or we can say the aperture and the shutter speed. So this is all about the exposure of the sensor. Now let us talk about ISO. The long form of ISO is a International Standards Organization. It maintains the quality of that product. Here in this case, film sensitivity is depicted in a form of ISO. So more the ISO, that means that film is more sensitive. Now this sensitivity of a film ranges from 100 to 3200, but there is a one point that whenever we increases the sensitivity, the chances of noise that increases. So what do you mean by noise? Noise in a photograph means what? Small grains appear in a photograph and that doesn't look nice. So if we takes photographs on high film sensitivity or towards for example 3200, you will find the quality of a photograph deteriorates. So the best quality photograph can be taken on 100 to 400 or 600 ISO. So if there is a bright sunny day, then you can use ISO 100. If it is for the object is in a shadow, then you can use a 200 ISO. And if the photograph is taken indoor, then you can use a 400 ISO. So this is about the ISO. ISO is very important, that one should set ISO first and then proceed for the other two kinds of the exposure parameters. So this ISO is very important. Now you can see here, if the light is not that much, then you can use ISO 800 and this quality of a photograph can be taken. Another is at this photograph is at ISO 800. So most of the time the celestial photograph, we want to take a photograph in the night, but if you want to capture the illumination in the sky, then you can use high sensitivity um, film, or you can say you can adjust your camera to ISO 800. Now after ISO, another parameter that is very important is the aperture. Now the diameter of aperture is depicted in terms of f-stops. If a higher f-stop is there, that means this number 18, 20, 22, if it is a higher, that means the aperture is the smallest. So as we move from the smallest aperture to the larger diameter of the aperture, this f-stop decreases. That means the aperture increases. So it is inversely proportional. So higher the f-stop means the smallest aperture, lower the f-stop means the higher or larger the aperture. Now what are the advantages of a smallest aperture? See, it increases the depth of field. What is depth of field? We will discuss after this slide. Just remember that when the aperture is small, the depth of field is large. The that is image background is not blurry. So the background, whatever the background of that particular image, that will also appear clear. So this is the advantage. What is the disadvantage? As we know that if it is a smallest aperture, it will require more light. So for that purpose, you will have to keep your shutter speed slower. So this is the disadvantage, because what happens that when we take a photograph at a slower shutter speed, chances of blurry image that increases, because we cannot keep our camera steady, and because of that there may be blurring of an image that takes place, or chances increases due to that slow shutter speed. Now you can see here the example here is the photograph by Sergio Tudela. You can see here the f-stop here is f18. So you can imagine that the smallest aperture is there, but for that purpose the shutter speed is 2.5 seconds. So this photograph is taken at ISO 200. So even sensitivity is also increased, and the shutter speed is also very slow. 2.5 second means very slow shutter speed is there. But you can see here what is the advantage, that the image, in this image, this portion is clear, and this distant portion is also clear. That means that much depth of field is available due to the small aperture. So this is the advantage of the smallest aperture. Then lower f-stop, as I have told you that if the f-stop is 4 or 1.8, you can see the advantage is that as a aperture is larger in diameter, the plenty of light is available for that particular photograph. So this can be used in a darker settings also. If there is no light, or very less amount of light is there in that particular conditions also, we can use this and we can photograph. Now less blurry, since faster shutter speed and faster shutter speed is needed to compensate for more light. So if the f stop is less, that means aperture is larger, so more light is allowed. For that purpose, we can keep the shutter speed very fast. So 1 divided by 640 seconds. So that much amount of shutter speed can be taken. So you can see here, what is the disadvantage? The disadvantage is that there is no depth of field. So background of the image is likely to be out of focus. So here, because of the higher shutter speed, the background of this image that appears black. But if the when we photograph at lower f-stop, the depth of field is not available, or the background of that particular image is blurry most of the time. So this is a photograph that is taken from the flickr.com. Now see, this is the depth of field for large aperture. If you want to photograph this particular object, the focus point is like this. Very narrow depth of field is there. You can focus on this particular animal only. The background of this animal will not be visible, or it will be blurry. Even the foreground it will also be blurry. But if we use a small aperture, there will be a broad depth of field. So although the focus point is on this particular subject, but still you, and in your photograph, the foreground will be clear, as well as the background also will be clear. So this is the beauty of small aperture. Whenever we use a small aperture, that means higher f-stop, the depth of field available is very broad. Now you can see the number of examples here. I have shown here aperture and depth of field. So if it is a shallow depth of field, as I have told you, that you can see here the background of the image is blurry, so it will not be clear. So here this photograph from Yogendra Joshi, that is taken at f-stop 8 and ISO 100. The shutter speed is 1 upon 162nd. So here flash is used, and you can see the best result out of this. Then if a broad depth of field is required, for example a landscape photo, then you can see here the distant tree that is also appearing clear, as well as this tree which is near to the camera, that is also appearing very clear. So this is the beauty of the small aperture, that is f16. So more the f-stop number, that means smaller the aperture. But problem is that for a smaller aperture we require the we can say here the more slow shutter speed. Again, another example is of this, the higher depth of field, broad depth of field. You can see here the leaves of the tree that are also clear, and this mountain, that the trees on the mountain that are also clear. So that much amount of depth of field is available. That is because the f-stop is 14 towards higher side. That means a very small aperture is used, and for that small aperture, the ISO here, the shutter speed is 1 upon 100. That is also a fast shutter speed, but the ISO or film sensitivity is increased here, that is 400. So that's why this photograph appears very good. Then again, I have told you about this also, that whenever when you go for wildlife photography, if you want to focus that particular image or highlight that particular image and brings a kind of a 3D look to the photograph, you can see here that is to be done with the help of such type of camera settings where the f-stop is 7.1. So that means a moderate kind of aperture is taken, and with the help of that, or a medium size aperture is taken, and with the help of that the desired result is obtained. So here shutter speed is 1 upon 60, that is a slow shutter speed, and ISO here is a 400. So most of the time whenever we take such a kind of a photograph, we require a zoom lens, and you can see here 439 lens is used here, and for that purpose the sensitivity, because the lens allows a very less amount of light to capture by the film sensor, and that's why the sensitivity of the film is increased. So 400 ISO is taken, and this photograph is taken at f stop, that is 7.1. So near about 8, 16, 20, that means towards the smaller side. So that's why the depth of field is very um, shallow. Now another criteria for better exposure of a photograph is a shutter speed. As I have told you that shutter speed is very important when the subject is fast moving. See here these goldfinches that are moving very fast, but still they are appearing very clear in this particular photograph. That is because you can see here the shutter speed, that is 1 upon 1600. The aperture here is a 5.6, that means a moderate aperture is there. The ISO is also 400, and the shutter speed here is too much high, and because of this even at these particular goldfinches are appearing very clear in the photograph. You can see here. So this is because the higher shutter speed is used, and with the help of higher shutter speed, that means what, 1 upon 1600 of a second that shutter was open, and only that part of that second is recorded on the film sensor, and because of that this beautiful photograph is recorded. Similarly, you can see here 1 upon 20th second that shutter speed is used for such a kind of a photograph. You can see here this photograph is taken along, uh, or we can say that the subject is moving, along with that that photographer is also moving, and because of that this beautiful photograph is able to capture in the film or in a sensor. You can see here these are, this is how that we can, with the higher shutter speed, we can achieve such a kind of photograph. Then you can see here this is the waterfall, and the shutter speed here is 1 upon 400. So again the faster shutter speed is there, and because of that you can see here every drop of water can be seen. So although the f-stop is 8, that means a smaller aperture is there, and a smaller aperture is there, that is why you can see here the foreground and background, or we can say the depth of field is larger, and because of that this beautiful photograph can be taken. So ISO here is 200. Now the same photograph is you can see here the shutter speed here is slow, that is 1 second, and because of that you can see the waterfall is appearing like a string of white color. So you can see here, this is done with the help of or by keeping the shutter speed very slow. The depth of field is wide. You can see here this particular um, leaves are appearing very clear, as well as this particular portion of the photograph is also clear. So wide depth of field is there, but the shutter speed is very slow, and because of that we can achieve this particular type of photograph. Here also the shutter speed is 0.3, f-stop is 22. So 22 means what? Very large depth of field is available, and you can see here these grasses are clear, as well as the horizon is also clear. So background and foreground is clear, and the shutter speed is very slow, and because of that it appears like this. So this is about the shutter speed. Even at night time also, if we want to, or we can say that the light is very less. So when light is very less, we have to keep shutter speed very slow, so that large amount of light should be allowed to enter inside the camera or on the sensor, and because of that we can achieve such a kind of a photograph. See here, the f-stop is 11. That means the f-stop is or the aperture is smaller, but because of the small aperture, the depth of field is larger. So this is a very beautiful photograph. Then again, the shutter speed here is at 20 seconds. You can imagine that such a kind of a photograph is taken only with the help of a tripod, so that the camera should be kept very steady. And ISO here, you can see here, ISO used here is a 1600. So high sensitivity film is used, and you can see here the shutter speed is also high, 20 seconds, and f-stop is 2.4. So you you must be now aware of why this f-stop is 2.4. That is to achieve the we can say that larger amount of light should be allowed to enter on the film. So smaller the f-stop, the larger the aperture. Now this is again an example of a very beautiful wildlife photograph. You can see here, this is a red panda that is mostly found in the northeast region, and this photograph is taken at f-stop 4. That means very less. F-stop means wide aperture. So here they are using 200 lens. That's why more amount of light is required, and that's why the f-stop is less, so that the diameter of the aperture is more. Now when the diameter of aperture is more, a very less depth of field is available. So you can see here the background is blurry, foreground is also a kind of a blurry. A very small window of depth of field is available, and in that window this photograph is taken. So at a shutter speed of 1 upon 250, and here the ISO is used is 1250. So this is how that a beautiful photograph is captured. See, for most of the time, whenever we go for a portrait, the aperture should be kept like this in a medium range, but shutter speed should be more, and ISO is 100. So this is how that good quality portrait can be taken. Here also, let's see, the f-stop is 5.6, the shutter speed is 1 upon 125, the ISO is 100. So these are some of the photograph. So you can see here, when we increase the ISO, the quality of a photograph that decreases. So this is a Udupi beach. Udupi beach that is shown here. Then this is our Salim Lake. Again, the depth of field is more here. Small aperture is used, but with the help, as we use a small aperture, a very less amount of light is entering inside the camera, and that's why this photograph appears towards darker side. It does not appear brighter. So this is how that we have to overcome the or we have to know the basics of the camera, and then we can achieve the very good results. So again, this is another example of good photograph. See, sometimes you should be at a right point at a right time. So you can see here, and that too with the camera. So you can achieve a good result out of that. Please solve the quiz on camera basics. Please scan this QR code for better understanding, and good luck. So this is all about the camera basics. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel Bamud Biogenius for latest uploads, or like my videos and comment. If you have any queries, don't hesitate to ask. Thank you.